have you at any time at all, when all this hoopla, when the people began to know about Orania, have you at any time in your mind said, yes, I understand these people have a valid concern given the very negative relationship in the past, white and black in South Africa? Has it occurred to you that, yes, they may have a valid reason to be concerned that Just and his people are segregated or cut off exclusive?
Yes. Not only then, but every day.
Okay.
I try to, and many of the people in the community thinks like this. We try to understand what is people's concern with Orania. Let's take two scenarios. One, remember tensions are high in South Africa, so people try to simplify complex, nuanced questions, simplify it to understand it. So let's take the first scenario. Say, for example, the people of Orania are bad people, right? We are the bad, racist, segregations, whatever, every bad word that's thrown away around these days. Say, for example, that is the truth. Where would you want those people? Around you in the cities? or one in the desert on their own?
Okay.
Where would you want them? So that's the first thing. The second thing is that there are still many structures of power in South Africa, whether it be economically, politically, and so on. If I wanted to be bad and hurt the other people of South Africa, I would influence those structures of power, and I would use that to my advantage. I would not go and start a pioneering community to great challenges to myself and to my people. I mean, I didn't start it, but I mean, as an example, I would not go and put myself out there where I struggle more, where I have to do my own work, where I have to, live in those conditions. But yes, I do sometimes understand that people have very simplified understandings of Orania, and in the light of such simplified understandings, we try to do two things simultaneously. Stand up for our people, Afrikaner people, in no uncertain way, for our culture, our language, and religion, and let Afrikaners around the country know that we are standing up for them and fighting for them.
What would the mainstream South Africa gain if everything goes well, you are left alone, and you build this community, continue to build it? What would the mainstream culture of South Africa gain from you?
First thing would be a blueprint. A blueprint. And a blueprint not just on paper, but in practice. A blueprint that does not only bring practical plans on how communities can better themselves to their own advantage by becoming less dependent, but a blueprint that also brings hope, which is a very scarce resource in South Africa. A blueprint that brings hope in the sense that people see here is some ways that the community can be organized, and here are people doing it. And they are doing it for themselves, yes, but it can be used. Even on our small scale, the success that we bring is very encouraging for people who struggle. So that is the first thing it would bring. Secondly, if Orania were to be a success, and Afrikaners would feel safe there, they would feel they have a home, a heimat, an area, it would bring political stability as well. When people feel threatened, when they feel under pressure, that is when conflict starts. But when people have the option of safety, it's better. Just think of a child without a home.
Yeah.
He must fight on the streets to survive. A child that has a good, loving home where he knows he's stable and safe, when he goes out into the world, he's in a better position.
Does Orania has its own police?
We have our own security service, yes.
Security service?
Yes.
Uniformed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So our security service, as we use the model of the solar plant, for example, commercializing it, we also use the commercialization model for our security services. Why is that necessary? Well, in South Africa, if you combine the entire police force, you combine the entire military with that, and you say X4, 4 times. That is how big private security is in South Africa. 4 times as big as the army and the police combined. Private security keeps South Africa safe. We took the model of private security, combined it with volunteers, because we live in a very rural area. There are no police stations. It's 40, 50 kilometers to police stations, very scattered around, very big rural areas. Created a security service, which is legal, which is registered, which is professional, and they provide a commercial service as many security services around the country does.
Oh, I see.
And through that, we also build relationships to our neighboring communities who do not have necessarily enough security, firefighting, medical intervention available.
I see.
And that's actually been quite good to us. We've built relationships with neighboring communities. We've helped fight fires in neighboring communities. People who maybe had a bad perception of us, who now has a bit more understanding. When we
You fought fires outside your...
Yes,
I
to help
see.
support.
Do you have your own fire department?
Yes, but all of those, almost all of that is manned by volunteers. People who are willing to leave their businesses and pause making money to protect the community, to protect the farms, and even to protect...
So your fire department is volunteer?
Volunteers.
You have primary school?
We have primary schools, yes.
High school?
Yes.
So now, university, they can go anywhere?
We started a college in 2019 as well. One of our big achievements.
You guys are ambitious.
Yes.
You have your own clinic?
Yes. Yes.
How far are you from the capital of South Africa?
About almost 800 kilometers.
800?
Yes.
Is it Pretoria?
Yeah.
How far are you from Johannesburg?
Johannesburg and Pretoria is close by. It's
Oh, close
700.
by, that's
yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
I see.
So South Africa actually has got three capitals.
Yeah.
Pretoria, Cape Town, and Bloemfontein. Bloemfontein is not so far from us, but it's a much more smaller city than the other ones.
So when people think of Orania, what is the first industry that comes to their mind?
Industry.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, it's farming.
Oh,
Farming. So there is a farming sector surrounding us. Our primary economy, less than 2% of the primary economic drivers is agriculture. However, the secondary effect of that agriculture is quite large in our economy. So yes, farming is what comes to mind if people think of Orania, but we need to change that to manufacturing. We need to be exporting. If we are not exporting in a modern, complex economy, we will have troubles along the road.
What do you think you'll be exporting?
Knowledge, firstly. I think one of our competitive advantages is the fact that we have people who are good accountants, who are good lawyers, who are good engineers, who are good, whatever. And they can export their knowledge, sit in Orania. If they can work through good internet connection, they can work.
Are you exporting your farm products currently to the main country?
Yes. Yes, we are. And guess where else? We produce pecan nuts. We've planted a total of, I think, about 16,000 pecan trees. Where would you guess those are going?
Pecan? UK?
No, to the east. So China primarily is buying our pecan nuts.
You're already exporting?
Yes.
To China?
Yes.
Wow. Interesting. Since 1991?
Yeah.
No, I mean, 1991 you started Orania,
We
and in 2025 you're already exporting
Yes.
outside.
Yes.
So some of your products are going to the main country. Outside.
We
and
export
then-
through the rest of South Africa, obviously,
see.
but that is where
Now,
the
in the
main
beginning,
market
when I asked you for the three criteria, the first one you said was drug. Why drug?
because our schools with our college makes up a third of Orania's population. Okay. From preschool to college, a third of our population.
A third?
A third.
Okay.
So, it's vulnerable people. It's small children, it's school-going children, it's college students. Drugs is non-negotiable. It's not something, we don't want to put our people in even more socioeconomic distress by introducing something that ruins lives, that destroys families, and that puts people in horrible situations. Zero tolerance. Not even weed, not even marijuana. It's not acceptable for us.
Wow. Just let me ask you, and maybe this is your fault. Do you think you've done enough in terms of, you're the spokesperson, in terms of really clarifying this to the nation of South Africa, and that maybe you didn't do a good job? That's why people still have a negative opinion of Orania. Or what is it?
I believe I have not done enough. I believe that a good friendly conversations can take us very far. You know, we recently erected a statue of a great hero out of our history. A statue that was attacked constantly in Pretoria. The statue of President Paul Kruger of the South African Republic, ZAR, which existed until it was annihilated by the British colonial forces.
Paul Kruger, right?
Paul Kruger.
Yeah.
He was known for being a staunch and strong Afrikaner leader, a nationalist of some kind.
Yeah.
He had still good relationships with the black tribes surrounding him. He even helped the Royal Bafokeng people to become the owners of the land which they are on. He managed that they become the owners of that land, and they got very rich from that because mineral resources was later discovered there. But it was, I think, under British protectorate, he helped them. So he had a good relationship with Europe through his own roots, and a good relationship with Africa through the work that he's done there. Orania must have a good relationship with the West, to which we are culturally and in values inclined to, and a good relationship with the people surrounding us on our continent. However, the times are tense. That is hard to do. And our people are currently under so much pressure, so much fire. It's our history being eradicated, our statues getting attacked. We're being pushed out of the job sector, out of the sports, in terms of school sports and things like that. The BEE, which is our version of DEI, pushes Afrikaners out of opportunities. And with all that,
What does the BEE stand for?
Black Economic Empowerment. So you take nice words, the word empowerment, yeah, and you misuse them in a communist way to make your friends rich. That's what the cadres of the ANC are doing, the cadre deployment. So the BEE is part of, there's about 144 laws based on race in South Africa. More of a legal framework on racial qualifications than at the height of apartheid.
Let me ask you this question. When Mandela got out of jail and then apartheid collapsed, if someone had proposed that South Africa should be divided, let's have BSA, Black South Africa, let's have WSA, White South Africa, and put a border, who do you think would have said no?
White South Africans.
What I meant is, if somebody had proposed that for peace to reign, since apartheid says stay in your own lane, and somebody have said, well, maybe the best option, why don't we just put 2.9 or 3 million white people become their own republic?
Yeah.
Who would oppose it?
I really think it would be the white South Africans. And
The white South Africans?
The reason I think that is because the British made South Africa, which was a bunch of small countries, our two republics, the British colonies and the Black Kingdoms.
Yeah.
They made it one country in 1910.
Yes.
An empire. That's what it is. South Africa is as big as Western Europe, right?
Yes.
A large chunk of Western Europe, with many more different peoples. The British made it one country. In 1948, they continued doing that. They were not ready in 1994 to say they only want a chunk of the country. That is just my opinion. It's not a popular opinion under my own people, but I think it is the case.
So nobody has ever suggested or proposed that let's split.
Yes, some Afrikaners were ready to do that.
I see.
Some, but not all.
What would be
They were even in a conversation where the ANC said to one of the leaders back then, you can take the Northern Cape, which is the area that we are now in, which is arid and dry and not great economically. And he said, I can't go back to that to my people with that suggestion. Okay, I must clarify what I said. I did say, I think the majority of white South Africans were maybe not ready for that. I think they are readier. I think they understand that at this stage, for our culture to survive, for our people to survive, it's becoming necessary to create a place for us where we can live out our values and so on. So maybe they're becoming